I'm reading the summary from The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, a public domain work originally published in 1910. I'll be reading select portions and offering commentary through a Gnostic and consciousness based lens. This is not an audiobook, this is a commentary series. Like I said, this is the summary. And yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one. So I'm just going to jump in. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces a thing that is imagined by the thought. A man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, man must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. Otherwise, he cannot be in harmony with the formless intelligence, which is always creative and never competitive in spirit. Man may come into full harmony with the formless substance by entering a lively and sincere gratitude for the blessing it stows upon him. Gratitude unifies the mind of man with the intelligence of substance so that one man's thoughts are received by the formless. Man can remain in the creative plane only by uniting himself with formless intelligence through a deep and continuous feeling of gratitude. Man must form a clear and definite mental image of the things he wishes to have, to do, or to become, and he must hold this mental image in his thoughts while being deeply grateful to the Supreme that all his desires are granted to him. The man who wishes to get rich must spend his leisure hours in contemplating his vision and in earnest thanksgiving that the reality is being given to him. Too much stress cannot be laid upon the importance of frequent contemplation of the mental image, coupled with unwavering faith and devout gratitude. This is the process by which the impression is given to the formless and the creative forces set in motion. The creative energy works through the established channels of natural growth and of the industrial and social order. All that is included in his mental image will surely be brought to the man who follows the instructions given above and whose faith does not waver. What he wants will come to him through the ways of the established trade and commerce. In order to receive his own when it shall come to him, man must be active, and this activity can only consist in more than fulfilling his present place. He must keep in mind the purpose to get rich through the realization of his mental image, and he must do every day all that can be done that day, taking care to do each act in a successful manner. He must give to every man a use value in excess of the cash value he receives, so that each transaction makes for more life, and he must so hold the advancing thought that the impression of increase will be communicated to all with whom he comes in contact. The men and women who practice the foregoing instructions will certainly get rich, and the riches they will see will be in exact proportion to the definiteness of their vision, the fixity of their purpose, and the steadiness of their faith, and the depth of their gratitude. And I think, bro, that's it. That's it. Okay, so after that, I'm gonna unpack this. I'm gonna pack this. Wow. First of all, when I first started reading, my throat was burning. And I'm into, esoterica, thoughts that are kind of outside of the norm, things that are just ethereal or whatever. And it's very metaphoric. And so the burning of the throat, I'm like, yeah, she's spitting fire. Like she's speaking truth. But right before I sat down to record this, I started having some wavering feelings, not about anything specifically necessarily, but sometimes when I feel that wave of energy, it's like I'm about to do something, right? Do something impactful. And so there, I just outlined not the book, like, yes, the book, but I outlined the message. So basically, it starts out by saying there is a thinking stuff from which all things are made. I'm going to stop right there. Everything is energy. We know that. And this book says there's a thinking stuff. And basically, what it's talking about is God. Because in the beginning was God. Everything is God. Everything is energy, right? And God decided, right, created, separated the light from the dark. And right there, that starts the concept that leads all the way to thought. Man, I'm taking air. Whew, excuse me. So the thinking stuff, that's God, and God thinks, creates thought. And so all things are made from this, in which, in its original state, so this original state of God, it permeates, penetrates, and fills everything. Everything in the universe is God, right? The empty spaces and the places that look to be filled. So a thought in the original substance produces a thing that's imagined by the thought. Okay. So when you go into your imagination, you're in the formless substance. You're in the thinking substance. That is God. And so when you form a thought in there in your imagination, right, produces the thing that you imagined. So man can form these things in his thought, and by impressing that thought upon the formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. Well, how do we impress the thought upon formless substance? Oh, that's great. It continues to say, in order to do this, man must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. So the competitive mind is the earth, the work. You work to get paid. That's how you get money. The aim of this book is the science of getting rich, right? So he talks about the competitive world is an eye for an eye, all this stuff. We're working, we're striving. So you have to pass from that to the creative mind, to the mind of creation, rather than how can I bring in money to money's coming to me. I'm creating. You live there and you know that you are already rich. You create the state of being rich. Okay? You become rich by being rich, and then everything comes to you after. It's after the fact, after effect. And then it says, otherwise, he cannot be in harmony with the formless intelligence, which is always creative and never competitive. So when you're in there, the answer is always yes. Everything's always an idea. That's where everything starts, including you. Let us make them in our image, right? Imagine, an idea, a thought. So this summary goes on to say that man may come into full harmony with the substance by entering a lively and sincere gratitude for the blessings. So being in a state of gratitude already puts you there. It already puts you there. It already puts you there. So you imagine what you want and you're thankful that it's already yours, right? Because when you're thankful, it unifies the mind of man with the intelligence of God. And then it says, remain in there, right? You remain there by uniting yourself with God, you becoming one. You are clear and certain about what it is that you want. You hold to that as being true, and you're thankful for it, period. You name it and claim it is what they once yelled at us and said it was called. In fact, I was the one yelling, but it's more than that. Because what happens is you have to follow the instructions and you be active. You do the work, you put your hand to it. You're not just sitting there doing nothing. You're trusting that God is alive and active as you. And so everything you do is blessed. It's the belief. This is identity work. If Jesus or Einstein didn't believe who they were or believe in themselves, then where would we be? Right? And it's not that Jesus and Einstein, blah, 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 blah. It's about self identification. Who do you believe yourself to be? I believe myself to be 100% aligned with perfect health. I believe myself to be, I'm rich. Like waves of abundance come to me from multiple positions and situations and arenas and streams that are just flowing. I get paid to exist and I exist to give. And this book talks about you must give to every man a use value in excess of the cash value he receives, so that each transaction makes for more life and okay. I'm tripping over the words. Basically, give more than you receive. If somebody's paying you for your service, you overgive. You give and 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 you give. Because what you're doing is by your being rich and you're giving richly and generously, you continue and create the flow. And you hold that it's coming back over. You overgive. If you overgive to others, others will overgive to you. You're not doing it for that intention. You're doing that because that's who you are. You're obviously generous. You are obviously blessed. And the book talks about he must give to every man a use value in excess of the cash value he receives, so that each transaction makes for more life. And he must So hold the advancing thought that the impression of increase will be communicated to all with whom he comes in contact. So you believing that everybody around you is becoming rich because of what you're doing. They're becoming blessed because of what you're doing. Anything that you offer the world, you're blessing them with more life. 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 It doesn't matter what you're selling or what you're doing. If you're doing it with the earnestness and knowing that you're doing something that makes you happy and you're genuinely happy and your aim is to be rich, then you are rich. And you traverse the competitive world with the creative world and you become creator like your father. So clarity, purpose, faith, and gratitude is what it talks about. So then at the end of this, the very end of this book that's orange on the edges, because again, it's from 1910. It's like a moldy book, actually. It's like, it's got mold. So maybe that's why my throat. It's just at the end of the book. Anyway, there's a quiz in the back. And I mean, I'm not going to read all of them because, gosh, it's 73 questions. But it says, can you answer these questions on the science of getting rich? Take note. These questions constitute a thorough examination on this book, Financial Success Through Creative Thought, and a complete course in science of financial success. Write out the answer to each question with thoughtful consideration. As far as possible, do so without consulting the book, making sure that you have the principles and practices of the science thoroughly fixed in your memory. Then reread the chapters and rectify your answers. The practice will help you immeasurably in the recognition, realization, and application of the principles of success. So, pause. I actually am going to read these questions because there are loops upon loops. Go to my playlist on this channel. It's book readings and commentaries. Find all the chapters you need to listen to them and then answer these questions, okay? And so I will list in the description of this particular video, I will make sure it has a link to the entire playlist. And yeah, you can find those there. That's so fun. This is a surprise. I'm so glad I did it. All right, chapter 1, quiz questions. 1. Show that the right to life includes the right to be rich. Tell why in full. Damn. Number 2. Is it right to be content with honest poverty? If not, why not? How rich do you want to be? 3. Explain what a complete life is and show how riches are essential to complete living. 4. In which department of your life, body, mind, or soul, do you feel the greatest lack? Chapter 2. Number 5. What causes the ownership of money and property? 6. Prove that getting rich is not a matter of environment. 7. Prove that getting rich is not the result of superior talent. 8. Prove that getting rich is not the result of saving or thrift. 9. Prove that getting rich is not the result of doing things that are neglected or overlooked by others. 10. Prove that the certain way is not so difficult, but that you can follow it. 11. Show what location counts for in getting rich. Chapter 3. Number 12. Show that opportunity is not monopolized. 13. Prove that the world workers have their future in their own hands. 14. What is meant by the invisible supply? Chapter, what is this, 4? Number 15. How does thought create from the formless substance? 16. What is man and what power has he? 17. Repeat the summary from pages 35 and 36. Do you understand it? Do you believe it? How can it be proved? Number 18. What is the basic fact behind all appearances? 19. What must you do and what must you believe if you are to practice the science of getting rich? Chapter 5, number 20. Prove that God wants you to get rich and tell why. 21. Why is it essential that your purpose should harmonize with the purpose of the all? What is the purpose of the all? 22. Why can you help others more by making the most of yourself than in any other way? 23. What is the difference between creation and competition? 24. Explain why God has made plutocrats and monopolists. 25. Why are riches gained on the competitive plane generally a failure insofar as causing happiness is concerned? 26. How are you to keep from falling into the competitive mind? Oh my gosh, there's so many. Okay, how about this? I'm gonna stop there. If you want the questions, comment in the damn comment section down below, and I'll give you all the questions. Hell, I'll send you a picture of the questions. All right, well, that's it. Thank you for this book series and this book readings and commentaries. The last few videos, I've been marveling on what I want to do next, and I'm so drawn toward A Course in Miracles, but definitely not in this format. I'm thinking, yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know how I want to go about it. So I guess I'll just sit with that in creative thought. All right. I love you. Be well and have fun getting filthy, filthy rich. Bye.